Okay, let's see if anyone's out there. Nobody's yet. Got one person. Pop your name in the chat. I'm going to talk to you for a bit first, and then we're going to do some questions. Nothing's too magically exciting. We've got Fazana, we've got Zeran. Cool. I'll start talking in about a minute or two when we've got a few more people. So obviously, there's a few changes I've made. I don't know if you've seen your Microsoft Teams, you'll have seen something there. So I want to just kind of make sure you understand what the hell's going down. And then we'll do the lesson as normal after. All right, so we'll get a few people in. Mawson, good to see you. Demetrius, good to see you. I hope everyone's well out there. Warren, it's good to see you too. We're up to, that'll be 5, but somehow there's 4 people watching. Maybe someone's just slipped offline. Okay, so we've got about 5 people. I'm going to hang around for about another minute or so, then we'll get started. I want a few more people than 5, obviously. And people do usually turn up. It's just a bit late. That's fine. Sometimes I'm late as well. So we've now 6. Cool. There we go. 7th person, whoever that is. All right. Hey, Jacob. 8. It's creeping up. I just don't have to want to repeat myself 400 times the same thing. So I'm going to do some new stuff with you now. In terms of, well, I'll explain it in a second. Right. Cool. Hello, Sheila. We're starting about 15, 20 seconds now, irrespective of who shows up, because I don't want to waste too much people's time. It's not fair on you. Other people have turned up late, and that's not ideal. Okay, let's roll. Okay, what I'm thinking about is looking towards your future. And when I'm talking about your future, I'm talking about your UCAS predicted grade. And for a few of you, not many, but there are a few, whether you stay on the course or not. And I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, look, we can't just make decisions because I feel like it. I can't just go, I like Zeran, let me give him an A star. As much fun as that would be, and you're a good kid, and obviously I wish you all the best, but I've got to have some kind of fair way of doing it. And this is what I've come up with. There's going to be 3 strands to the way you're going to be assessed until we get back into college. Number 1, there's going to be a mock exam in September. You can't see that. And that's going to be, September, there we go. You can actually see that one. It won't be before that. Even if we get back into college, I'm going to resist any temptation. I might give you like practice papers, but I won't do anything with you that isn't, that isn't going to count to that big of an extent. So that's September 2020, depending on obviously if social distancing is done by then. There was an article this morning saying that maybe this will go on for a year. I mean, God forbid, but maybe. And obviously we're on top of that. We're watching the news, same as you. I honestly think there's a chance we'll be back in June. And I think it'd be I'd be surprised if we're surprised if we're lucky if we start in June. But I'd be stunned if we hadn't started by September. Okay, cool. So that's strand number 1. That's going to be one of the bigger parts. Hey, Omo, good to see you, my dude. So what I'm explaining now, just for the couple of people who have just popped in, is I was thinking yesterday about your assessment and your predicted grades, and I want to do them as fairly as possible. So I'm going to do it on 3 strands. That strand number 1 is going to be the September 2020 mock exam. Strand number 2 is a set of project work I'm going to give you, which hasn't been finalized yet. I don't know who the ruthless noob is. Names help, right? Because obviously I'm doing your register. And number 3 is what I've done for you on Microsoft Teams today. And what's going to happen for like all your work from now on is that you send it to your private chat. So that way I've got a chat for every single student. And why do I want that? Because that chat is basically your portfolio of work for this term. So like, if it comes down to when I say I predict someone a C, and I go, the reason why I predict you a C was you did this much work, but you missed this lesson. You didn't do that work. You didn't do your Dr. Frost homework for 3 weeks. That's why I'm thinking one of the reasons I can't give you things you missed this content. And then I'll be able to go, look, it's on your phone. Yeah. And the good thing about the Microsoft Teams stuff is you can't delete anything. So and be careful about that as well. Just like if you are in the habit of bantering with people, obviously everyone's perfectly respectful for me and I'm grateful for that. But you know, with each other and you call someone a rude word, remember you can't delete that. You can delete your chat, but you can't, it lives forever. It's like everything on the internet. Once it's on the internet, it exists forever. So yeah, so you're gonna put all your work in your individual chats. No longer, don't email it to me anymore. Put it in your chat. So I've got every single person's got one chat with their name on it and their stuff on it. So if there's a dispute about whether someone's done their homework or not, if there's a dispute about anyone something, you know, you've done your classwork or not, we can both go to the chat and go, okay, VJ, check, I don't know, the 15th of April. And look, you can see that I've done it. And it'll just make my life so much easier and your life so much easier. So that's, so your portfolio is on Microsoft Teams. All right. Is everyone clear on this? Does everyone understand what your 3 strands of your assessment are? The biggest one's obviously going to be the mock. Then there's a project worked. And then there's the portfolio, which is literally that Microsoft Teams chat that I've set up. And every single lesson you're in, you pop up with your work. Now, what format should your work be in? It should be, you send it to me after it's been marked. All right. So it's my responsibility, and I will, to send you out the marks scheme in a suitable time, and I will do that. So Rashida asked a question. Can you go into detail about project work? Yes, I can. What the project work is going to be based around is a bit more kind of towards problem solving rather than just, oh, here's a chapter 6 question, page 37, right? It's going to be something you need to think about. Would you like an example of what one thing that you could be asked to do as a project question? Pop in the chat box if that's a yes or a no. Hey, David, good to see you. All right. So for those people that just popped up, I just wanted to explain to you your assessment of whether you passed the year, your assessment or your predicted grades are going to come on 3 strands. September 2020 mock exam, project work, and portfolio. Okay. And the portfolio is the live chat on the top, like, you know, the live chat that we've got on the Microsoft Teams. Everyone's got their own individual one. At the end of every lesson, once you finish marking your work, you send me a picture of your work. Now, before I answer Warren, Fazana, Demetrius, and all the people that said, yes, can we see it? It's like one of those massive questions. I'm going to show you. Can I just ask one thing? And you do this, obviously, discreetly in your own chats. If anyone's having problems because they haven't got the right equipment, can you let me know by, say, 2:30 today? And I can ask the college to provide some funds because they've got some money. All right. So if you have, like, if you're fighting over a laptop with your little sister and brother, if you've got internet connection issues, and like, I mean, I'm not talking about like sometimes the screen flickers. I mean, it's like legitimately you're paying a fortune because you can only get this on mobile data because you haven't got Wi-Fi in your house, that sort of thing. Can you drop me a message on Microsoft Teams or drop me an email, because I'm putting together a spreadsheet for students in that situation today. If you don't meet that deadline, don't worry, but send it to me by tomorrow early morning at the urgency, because the absolute deadline is 1 o'clock tomorrow. But what I'm saying to you is, for my convenience, can you do that before 2:30 today? Because I want to send it early. That obviously, hopefully, you get more chance of getting it. I don't know if that's how it works. Right, cool. So you guys asked me, oh, what's this going to be like? Well, let's find out. I'll tell you a little story. True story, right? And this will be an example of a question you might get. So this story would be typed out for you, yeah? So during the Second World War, we were fighting the Nazis, obviously. And they came up with a new model tank. And they captured a few tanks. And they noticed that on each tank was written a number. There was a 1. They caught number 1. They caught a number 1, a 23, a 47, and a 65. All right? And, okay. So on each tank, there was painted a number. So there was, on one tank they caught was a 0, one tank they caught was a 23, one tank they found was a 47, one tank was 65. And the question that you'd be asked, and this was like a kind of question I saw as a problem-solving question. How many tanks did the Germans have? So literally the only information you've got is they've got new tanks, and they've all got a 2-digit number written on them. How many tanks have they got? And that's a different level of problem solving from anything you've seen before at GCSE or even at A-level, where they said, use trigonometry to find, or use Pythagoras to understand. So let's analyze this, right? So pop in the live chat. Is there anything you could say about the number of German tanks from the information you've got? So far, that you know there's new German tanks, we've managed to capture or destroy 4 of them. The 4 tanks each had a number on them. Tank number 1 was 01, tank number 2 was 23, tank number 3 they caught was 47, and tank number 4 was 65. So they caught or destroyed 4 tanks. How many tanks do the Germans have total? Anything you could say about that? You can't see all the numbers. You can't see any of the numbers. I just realized I'm an idiot. Sorry. Would you like me to redo the story then? Or do you get the story? So it was 0, 23, 47, 65. All right? So they made a new brand of tank. We don't know how many they produced, but the ones we caught had 4 different numbers. So less than 100. Yeah. You don't know that for sure, but it's a good guess because they're coming out 2 digits so far. What's the minimum they've done? What's the minimum they've done? What is the smallest amount of tanks that they've done? Can you say anything about the minimum amount of tanks they have? At least 65, yeah? 65 plus. Okay, 65 is minimum, yeah, absolutely. Well, 65, are you sure? Is there anything else you can conclude? Dante, don't worry. I see that. It's not 65 that's the minimum, is it? If you've got a 0, 1, does that necessarily have to be the first tank? What could be the first tank? If you're using 2-digit numbers. Okay, fair enough. 66, yeah, I mean, you could have a 0, 0, couldn't you? So 66 tank. And you go, okay, fine, this is all very good, all very childish. And then I tell you, there's actually 2 mathematical formulas that you can use in order to work out an estimate for how many tanks there are. And obviously, if and when we do that as a project, which I might do this as a project, it's quite good. The mathematics you'll be learning is even above the curriculum level. It's something that you might do at university. Yeah. So it's showing whether the maths itself is not that difficult. Wait, let me just get that sorted. The maths itself is not difficult when I show you how to use the formula, but like it's going to take maths into a much more greater depth. Another thing we might do is do project work on individual stuff in the second year. So if I'm not doing stuff like this, which is kind of problem solving, I might go, okay, let's all focus on chapter 6 in the Pure 2 textbook, which is, if I remember correctly, no, not 6, it's boring. Let's do one modulus one, chapter 4. And I might ask you to create a set of lessons for it. I'm not going to ask you to teach them, but it'll be like a project work. Or I might ask you to write a revision guide for them. Or I might give you a super, super hard question and ask you to write a perfect work solution. So you get what I mean? It's work that's going to be a bit more open-ended, a bit more thinking, a bit more group work, rather than what I've been doing for this week. And I make no apologies for this because revision is important, where I've said, let's do some work, go away and do the work, mark the work, I will nod and pat you on the head. I'll give you things that will challenge you a bit more, all right? There will be some opportunities to do some more kind of like varied stuff in mathematics and extend out the knowledge that you'd have normally. So for example, if you're like proof, that's a whole rabbit hole to dive down, all right? So what it can be is you might want to choose a project title. So if you're super, super good at trigonometry, you want to say, okay, fine, what happens after? Or what happens if? If you're interested in, say, quadratics and cubics, you'd like, okay, there's a quadratic formula. Is there a cubic formula? Yes, there is, actually. How could I find it? So it's going to be open-ended. It's going to be a bit more broad, all right? Okay, they are all odd numbers, actually. I didn't realize that, to be fair. There's no reason why they couldn't be 33, because maybe the Nazis only ever jumped up in odd numbers, right? They aren't all prime, so you can't use that to simplify that. But you get the idea, right? And hopefully that gives you a little bit more. It's already been drafted for some classes. I've seen what's been done. I think it's good. But I want to do my own one, which is obviously going to tailor to you guys a bit more. But if you want a kind of baseline of what it's going to feel like, I can send out on Monday a draft copy. All right? So don't stress too much. And the assessment part of it, don't panic so much that every, oh, I didn't get this really hard problem. It's more to see whether, like, how you're committed to the work, how much effort you're putting in, etc. You notice that I gave a lot of kind of weight to the idea that people need to be handing in their work every lesson. They've got to be, involved. Because as I look at it, I see there's 12 or 13 people watching. And there's like maybe 4 or 5 that are just not interested. And I think we need to get rid of them. And I also see there's like people that work every single lesson. You've got your Dantes, you've got your Rashidas, you've got your Zerans. Yeah? Can we finish off stuff that we haven't handed in? You can. I'm not, as I said, I've only laid this on you today. So I'm not going to start whinging if you haven't done stuff from like 4 weeks ago. If you show me that you're doing more work, then of course I'm going to, I'm going to appreciate that. People are working hard, of course. That's how it goes, isn't it? All right, cool. Anyways, today we're still in relax mode. Not going to lie to you, because the next topic of work that's been set by, this is what Steve has set. He has set equations and inequalities, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through that sheet and I'm going to ask you which topics, if any, you need to see from me. And then we can talk it out on, we'll keep it on the live chat for today, all right? I'm going to start opening up as like a group call. So kind of tired of hearing my voice at this point. I'm sure you are as well. But for the time being, let's just roll. Boom, let's get this open. All right, so if you haven't gone to your emails, go to your emails now. Number 1 just seems like basic simultaneous equations. So that's simultaneous linear quadratic. What I'm doing is I'm writing them out for you so you can decide what you want to see. First of all, can you even see it? Being rubbish with the camera today. So yeah, so number 1 was simultaneous linear quadratic. Then you've got what? Number 2 is it's quite an easy one, this one, and inequalities. So it's inequalities, it's quadratics, but it's inequalities that are quads, not linears, still quadratics. And then you've got much of the same. Well, 2 and 3 are the same. So 2 and 3. And then 4, you've got intersections of graphs. Okay, and you can see this one's quite a short one. That's why I say this is pretty relaxed this first week. All of these topics are something that really just adaptations of like GCSE stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you now to do 2 things for me. I want you to look at that sheet that I've provided and see what you want to see demonstrated. If it's like question 4, I'll give you a similar question, not actually 4, because this is one example. I also want you to hit me up on the live chat, sorry, on your individual chats, if you need that financial support. Do that now for me, okay? And can you also mention, if you're doing that, whether you're under 18 and also whether you get any kind of bursary. The fact that you get a bursary or not is not decisive, but I need to know though, yeah? So it might be that you don't get a bursary, but they'll still give you some money. That's a fair shot, all right? So to be absolutely clear, go to your email, open up the worksheet, start popping up in the chat saying, I need help with this stuff. Also, while you're doing that, I want you to go to the chat that I've opened up on Microsoft Teams for each one of you. And if you need financial support to access like education, send a message saying, I need this. I'm getting a bursary or I'm not getting a bursary, depending on which one's true, and saying whether you're under 18 or not, because some of you aren't, okay? Neither of those things are like an absolute no. So if you're like over 18, it doesn't mean they're not going to give you any money. It just means it's a thing they need to know, all right? I don't even know what the criteria are for this. Do we need to mark? Yes, please. Yeah. Because one thing I found is trying to mark through a screen is unbearable. Because I haven't even got a printer. Can you mind us do a quadratic one, an example? So question. Yes. Let's do the quadratic. Quadratic one on which one? Simultaneous or inequalities? And similar to question 5, yes, I'll do that. So if we're comfortable with work, can we leave the stream? As it stands, yes, now you can. All right, now you can. I've got no more news for you. as long as you fully understand what's going down. All right. Okay, so I'm going to just wait on Warren to come back to me on which quadratic she's talking about. Are you talking about simultaneous quadratic, or are you talking about inequalities quadratic? But yeah, take care as well. Same for you. Please ask for the money if you need it, because I think this will be almost like last chance now these next 2 days. And remember, the absolute deadline is 1 p.m. tomorrow. We're trying to get it today. Simultaneous, yes, it shall be done. I'm going to rub this out now, and I'll take one of the examples from the worksheet. I'll thin out some of your work for you. And then I'll do a similar, because there were 5. I didn't even see there were 5. Oh, okay. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, cool. So I will do, actually, there's only one quadratic, so I better just do something else. So x squared plus y squared equals 25. Can you see that? Let's see. No, you can't. I've got to get my life sorted out with the camera. I'm just going to like do a permanent box or something. X squared plus y squared equals 25. Do you remember that's a circle, by the way? Because it is. X squared plus y squared. Is it only if we need a computer? No, it could be things like I haven't got money to buy Wi-Fi. You know, like some people haven't got Wi-Fi in their house, right? For whatever reason. And then they're using mobile data. That would be a good example of something you need money for. If you haven't got enough like screens to work with. Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna say, like, if you're under financial hardship for your learning, hit me up for a message, right? Okay, so x squared plus y squared is 25. Y equals, I don't know, x plus 2. Let's go 2x plus 1 arbitrarily. Would that work? Yeah, it would. Y equals 2x plus 1. So that's the equation. I'm going to take a note of it. We're going to have to rub this board out at various times. Obviously, this takes a little while to do. All right. Step number 1. Replace into the quadratic the linear form. So you're going to go x squared plus, and we know that y equals 2x plus 1. So it's just going to be 2x plus 1 all squared equals 25. So that's your first line of working. And if you expand that, you've now got x squared plus 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 25. Okay? Now, you know for a fact, I'm sure you do at this point, that you have a calculator that will do the quadratics for you. So I'm not going to belabor my head over this. I'm going to go 5x squared. I'm going to write it out properly. 5x squared plus 4x minus 24 equals 0. And if you are doing this example with me, can you tell me what x's are? All right. In fact, I have a calculator here. I can do it myself. So I will do it myself. But I want you to type in the chat box what you got. See if you've got the same thing as me. Oh, where is it? So if you're struggling to remember how to do it in your calculator, it is equation and function, which is A. You have to go down the polynomial. And to be fair, you can do the simultaneous as well, I think, on the calculator. No worries, Harley. No worries, Harley. What I want you to do is, can you catch back up the video at a later date? Because there's a lot of stuff being said. There's quite important stuff being said. So make sure you watch the video at a later date. But the very, very short notes of this is, you've got some work to do. I've sent it via email. I want you to send the pictures of it to your individual chat now that you've got on Microsoft Teams. Now, Warren says she doesn't know how to do the calculator, so let's learn that. That's the thing worth learning. So you don't have an individual chat yet. Let me do that right now. So here's a calculator, right? Calculator's there. So you go to mode. The one you're after is equation and function. All right. Hit that. Polynomial 2. Select 2 because it's quadratic, and then you just put the numbers in. So the numbers here you put in is 5 in front of the x squared, 4 in front of the x, and minus 24. Be careful, it is a minus 24, where the 0 is, and then you should get 2 answers. They'll come out as surds individually, but what I got was 1.83, 2 decimal places, and oops, it is. I'm being very stupid here. Minus 2.62. Can someone 2.63 rather? 2 decimal places. Right, Morso, I'm going to put your chat up. So sorry, I don't know how you got missed. Yeah, super important you have one though. So let's add you on. I still got that on paste. Oh, damn. I literally had like the words on paste. I'm just going to copy this. Copy it. Awesome. Paste. Right, cool. There you go. You've now, well, now you've got one. Right, I'll read what a couple of people have sent messages. I'm gonna quickly read them. So yeah, once you've got what x is, and Warren, have you? Tell me how x has gone. You literally just substitute and get what y is. So if you know x is 1.83, 2 times 1.83 plus 1 is y. Okay, cool. So yeah, that seems right. And the other question you asked me is like, can you do one that's similar to 5? So I'm going to just rub this out in just a moment for anyone who's watching this one. Yeah, I love it now. So I'm going to do an example as 1 5. I completely didn't see that there was a 5. I was wondering why it's out for you. All right, cool. Let's just do number 5. I'm not going to do the exact example again, obviously. So it goes x squared. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to change the pen as well. So that's not much use. Maybe. Yeah. Tell me how this looks. So we've got x squared. Is that too light? Let's have a look. Can't see what you see. That's a problem. That's all right. I can handle that. You've got here x squared. I'm changing it up. So this time I'm going to make it 2k plus 5. I'm not sure that is all right. You know, let's. If people can't see that, can you say so? Minus k equals 0. All right. And we're going to say that that has no real roots. No real roots. Let me just. I just want to see the screen again, so I can't see what you see. I think you just about see it, but it's best to change the pen. I've got some pens downstairs, I think. All right, cool. Right, can I do a question like question 4 if you can quickly? Of course I can. There's no rush. I've literally got nothing better to do than teach you, trust me. I mean, it's not like I'm going to go out clubbing now, is it? Go out would be nice. Anyways, let's have a look. I'm going to finish 5 there first. So no real roots, right? What does that mean? It means that b squared, for flip's sake, what is wrong with all these things? B squared minus 4ac is less than 0. So you've got an inequality that you can solve. Come on. Right, that's going as well. I literally have a box full of pens. Don't worry, pens are not a problem. It's just like I'm clearing out all the ones that I'm working on. So if they ever tell you something's got no real roots, your first thought is hopefully to reach for the determinant. Sorry, the discriminant. The determinant's something in matrices, which is b squared minus 4ac. It's got no real roots, it'll be less than 0. If you've got 1 root, it's equal to 0. And if it's got 2 roots, it's greater than 0. Remember, roots just mean where does it cross the x-axis, or where is it answers when it equals 0. All right? So b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. So I'd be able to go 2k plus 5 all squared minus 4 times 1. Why? Because there's only a 1 in front of the x squared. Times minus k is less than 0. All right? Which is a bit of an interesting one. Let's see how that plays out. I'm not even sure this is going to work. Let's see if it does. What you need to do here is expand this out. You're going to get 4k squared. What else have you got? A whole bunch of stuff. You've got 20k plus 25 plus 4k is less than 0. Yeah, it's less than 0. And if you tidy that all up, I want to see how far you can see down the screen as well. It's the constant worry with this. It's going to go 4k squared plus 24k plus 25. So that's the wrong round. That's less than 0. And that's less than 0. And then you just got to solve that quadratic inequality. So if you know how to solve quadratic inequalities, the question is really simple after that. So the question I'm asking is, why did I square all that? Because the formula goes b squared. Yeah? Formula goes b squared minus 4ac is the discriminant. So whatever b is, I've got to square it. All right, I hope that made sense. I'm going to stop talking for a minute. If anyone's got any particular questions, the bracket is b, yeah, exactly what Dawit said. He's absolutely right on this. The question I'm now asking you is, do you need me to show you how to do that? Because that kind of ties in with question 2 and question 3 and all the rest of it, the inequality stuff. If not, then I can do an example for Rashid or question 4. But if you want me to do it, I'm more than happy to. As I said, I'm here to help you. It's my job. Yes, please. Okay. So 4k squared, 24k plus 25. I apologize in advance if this doesn't work. All right. If it comes out as a complex number, but I did do it top of my head. So it's 4k squared plus 24k plus 25 is less than 0. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the calculator because I'm lazy, but obviously you either factorize it or solve it, whatever method you want. But yeah, I'm in a hurry, so let's just blast it. And of course, I'm not entirely sure it does work, so we'll find out. 4, for flip's sake, no answers, just 4. 4, 24, 25. I feel like a lottery guy. Right, so you've got two solutions. One of them is minus 1.34, and the other guy is minus 4.56. Okay, 6.5, sorry, 6.6, 4.66. So if I just do it on my calculator, that's what I get. Is that the answer? No. We need to finally just kind of put it in the right form. We've got a less than 0 here, right? So what does that mean? If we do a quick sketch, that's what our graph's going to look like. How do we know that? Positive k squared. By the way, I know it's just like slightly taking a mickey. I do tuition for my 14-year-olds. So I've got some 14-year-olds I tutor, and I was literally teaching them exactly this. It's kind of weird. So if you want to watch those videos, by all means. Kind of rude, I suppose. That's minus 1.34. That's minus 4.66 there. Yeah, so that's minus 1.34. That's minus 4.66 there. I want to be less than 0, and the x-axis is at 0, so I want this bit. Yeah. So my inequality would go about 4.66 less than k less than minus 1.34. Okay, because I want to be in this region, and that's being bigger than that and less than that. All right, so I hope that makes sense to you. The sketch is absolutely essential, right? Because that tells you, everyone asks me, how do you know which way to do the inequality? Because the sketch tells me so, right? The sketch tells me I want to be less than 0. When am I less than 0? When the curve looks like this, so from here to there. Yeah, I hope that makes sense to people. Again, I'm going to stop talking for about a minute. Let anyone who wants to ask a question about 5 speak. I mean, Warren said she's quite happy. That's good. I'm going to start doing an example like 4 in just a sec. Sorry if you can hear me drinking. That's kind of. I don't know how to kind of like cut sound effects like that out. Okay, cool. Okay, let's have a look at what 4 was like then. So a similar one to 4. All right. So here you've got 2 curves. All right. Find the points of intersection of these 2 curves. Sketch both of these curves as a point of intersection. Show by stating the region for which both of those are true. Okay, this is awkward as hell. All right. Not because it's particularly difficult. The points of intersection should be really simple. So what you do there is equate them. Equate the equations. Yeah. So what would that mean here? So I'm actually going to do it, not going to do the whole thing, but I'm going to give you the opening kind of steps. They both equal to y, so they both equal to each other at the point of intersection. Yeah. So you can go 2 minus x squared. So you can write that, solve for x, and put in, and then subs for y. All right. So take a note of that, because I'm not going to do the question for you for obvious reasons. Right. So that's the mechanism. So if you've got 2 quadratic curves, and that's going to be, the first one's going to be happy face, second one's going to be sad face, or positive and negative. To find their points of intersection, you equate them. They're both written as y equals. So when they meet, both of the y's will be the same. So you write them equal to each other, solve for x, and then pick one of the 2 equations. I'd probably pick the y equals 2 minus x squared because it's easier. And just subs in your x coordinates and get what the y coordinates would have been. I don't know how many solutions there are for that. You'll have to find out. There might be 0, there might be 1, there might be 2. I presume there are going to be some. It says points, so probably 2. So you'll have 2 x values, and you substitute each x value into, I would put it into this one, but it doesn't make a difference. This is the one I'd put it into because it's easier. But you could do it to either one and get the y coordinate. All right. So that's the first part done. Yeah, that's the first part done. And I'm going to talk you through how to do the second and third part. I'm going to give you a few seconds to copy that down. I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to give you the answer. That's on you, but you know. Okay, beautiful. Let's roll. Second part says sketch. To get full credits on a sketch for a quadratic, you need 3 pieces of information. And the fourth one's nice, but not obligatory. First one is its orientation. The orientation is which way up is it? So remember, positive x squared is a happy face, sad x squared, minus x squared. Yeah? Easy enough. X-intercepts, which you can get by solving, equals 0. And y-intercepts. What's the thing I said you'd be nice to have? It would be nice to have the turning point. Yeah, it's good to have the turning point. And if you wanted to get that, you could either use completing the square or dy dx equals 0. Yeah, either way is fine. Okay, so that's part B. That's what you'd have to do for it. Again, I'm not giving you the answer. I'm telling you how to do it. And then the last bit is shade the region where both of these, y is less than both of these. Okay, cool. So what does that mean? That's the bits where if y is less than x squared minus 5x plus 4, you want the bits that are under the line. Yeah? So if it's saying shade y is less than or equal to x squared minus 5x plus 4, you'd shade underneath the curve. And if you wanted to do the same thing for the 2 minus x squared, you'd shade under that curve too. And where they overlap, that's where both of them are true. And that's to shade the region where both of these are less than y. So y is less than both of those things. You'd shade underneath both curves, and where they overlap, that's where that is the region you're looking for. I hope that makes sense. All right. Beautiful. So that's it for me, unless someone says something. And as I said, say something if you want to. I'll hang around here for about another 3 more minutes. Where's the work? Check your email, my dude. If you haven't got it, can you drop me a message? Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Can you check your Microsoft Teams as well, just to make sure your chat's working? Because I think I just popped you up on the chat as well. You want to make sure everyone's got their chat nicely. I'm hanging around here for about another minute. So if anyone else has got any questions, pop up. If not, bye. I will send out the mark scheme for this at 12:15 precisely. Just take a couple of minutes and drop it back. Okay, brilliant. Cool. Excellent. Thank you, Derek, for checking that your chat works. There's Ziza. And you've got until like midnight to submit your work, right? As long as it does get submitted. I'll start chasing you up tomorrow if I haven't seen any work. Also be aware that there is Dr. Frost work as well. That's for next week. Okay, a few more seconds. I'm not angry with you, it's just something else happened. I'm trying to do like one-to-ones with everyone as well. Not you guys. So cool. I'm going to disappear in about 20 seconds. This work that I've set is due to be marked and sent to me by midnight tonight. Please don't send it bloody midnight. And there is Dr. Frost homework as well if I haven't set that, which I didn't. I should have done. Warren, take care. Have a lovely day. Look after yourself, right? That's me done for this lesson. I'll send you out solutions soon. Bye. I hate doing it. I said bye and it doesn't disappear. Bye. There you go.